Welcome to the last day of LibreFest 2025. It's been really enjoyable so far, reading all of your feedback and comments on the reflections. If you did ask a question that might have related to the LibreFest team responding to it, I have tried to go back and respond where I could. I am the only person that has a name, so there's a JS on mine, so you can know that I responded because I am technically the instructor of that course. So feel free to go back and take a look. And for everyone's knowledge, you will have access to this course at minimum until next LibreFest. So you'll have at least 11 months or so of access to go back, watch these videos, look at the checklists, look at the breakout room subjects. And then, of course, the videos will stay on our YouTube channel for as long as we have the YouTube channel, I think, or in case something becomes conflicting information and we want to take it down because it's just wrong, it'll still be up there. So with that note, I'm going to start to chat a little bit about the LibreTexts Academy. And this is actually a new aspect of LibreTexts in the past year. I was actually joining the LibreTexts team full-time last July around this time, and spent a few months getting my feet wet, figuring out where things were supposed to go, learning everything that I could so that in January we could launch the LibreTexts Academy for professional development. And I am the point person for that. So if you have questions about that, feel free to ask me. I will have some answers. Although if you send an email to our general info account, I'll also get forwarded those as well, so don't feel bad. And additionally, if you use one of our support tickets, there is an area for the Academy. So you can ask specific questions with the support system as well about Academy, and I'll answer those there. We do call it a Center for Open Instructional Innovation and Professional Development because what we really want to do is make sure that this is something that's focused on getting faculty to not only use OER as a replacement for their textbooks, but really to embrace the whole open philosophy of teaching so that they can use open resources, lower the cost of education, but also open the whole process of learning with open pedagogy and other aspects of teaching that really embraces this idea that knowledge is a shared resource that we all contribute together to grow. But yes, there's a lot of training resources on just what is a textbook and how to write it. And that is at academy.libretext.org. Nice and easy to remember. Or you can get to it from the homepage by just clicking on the Academy. So where is the background for LibreTexts Academy? Well, basically, LibreTexts is widespread and its use is expanding. It's the largest platform of OER in the world. We have usage from all over the world. We have hundreds of thousands of visitors per day coming to our site. It's being used broadly and more people want to use it. That's great. We're super excited about that. And as we get to that critical mass of being a very well-known tool in the community, we're getting more faculty who are not what we would call like the first adopters. There's a bunch of faculty that are first adopters and they're willing to really put in the time to learn something, even if it takes watching 10 YouTube videos, because they're super passionate about it. So as we start expanding, we start realizing we need to reach out to even more platforms, as Delmore talked a lot yesterday. To beat publishers for the common faculty member, then we have to appeal to beyond just those people who are going to innovate everything in their classroom by hand. We need to adopt all the tools that a publisher would come with. So that's the homework systems, that's some materials for their students in terms of assets, ancillary materials, writing platforms, all the things that would come right off the bat with the publishing materials. And that's becoming a lot more than just textbooks. And along with that comes a need for more expanding resources for training. In addition, our Libre membership is exploding. Our authors are migrating as other OER platforms are becoming less desirable to use. More faculty are coming in who've only ever published something. They haven't worked with anything else. And the on-ramp to getting into here is sometimes fairly steep. In fact, the thousands and thousands of people that are using this are often not even registered with LibreTexts, right? So people are visiting 400,000 people a day. We've got people using the site for real long times. 2 minutes per page is a long time to spend on a website if you're familiar with analytics. People are doing actions like downloading and going back. We're getting 50 plus support tickets a week of people asking questions, whether they're students who shouldn't be asking us questions, they should be asking their instructors, or their instructors asking us legitimate questions or finding mistakes in the textbook. So all these things are combining to mean that we have a lot of things for us to work on for the LibreTexts team. And that's the whole picture of us right there on the board. So there's just a handful of people. I have our developers marked off with our little developer icon. And then you can see Jennifer, myself, Delmar, Jennifer and Delmar in California. I'm here in Michigan, and Josh is joining us from DC. And the most common thing that we hear when we visit people is, we love it, it's awesome, but there is a steep learning curve, and I had to get over that. Most of our faculty are okay with that, and usually the learning curve is not as steep as they think it is. So they think it's really big, but then they go into the Remixer, they do it, and they realize they built a whole textbook in 30 minutes. So when I actually went in to search to see online where people are complaining about us and where people have any negative opinions, I actually spent 20 minutes and found no reviews in any of our support tickets or anything online or any of our emails that say that they are complaining about that learning curve. So it's something that we're hearing, but we're not getting a lot of people actually frustrated with us. I think it's because the four of us really do try to get out there and help you as much as possible. But it does mean that there is a need that the faculty are hearing from their colleagues. So the faculty hear from their colleagues, I would love to adopt it, but I don't want to do so. I'll spend all that time learning something when I can get something off the shelf, especially as we get more and more support for, oops, sorry. I was trying to click that admit button. As long as we keep getting these support, so we do have engaging support, and as someone said in the chat, we have a lot of support through our LibreNet memberships, through LibreFest, through Oktoberfest in the fall. We have twice a week office hours that are free. That link that you've been using for office hours at 8 a.m. every day this week, that's open every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific or noon Eastern, and then do the math in between. And we have lots of LibreFests every single year, where hopefully this week you have experienced that it can be done and it's doable, and there is the support that you need to succeed in your classrooms. If anyone feels like they didn't get the support that they need, please do reach out and let us know. Although I doubt that there's the types of people who are showing up to the Friday session. And that's because really at its heart, LibreTexts is not just a library and a publishing platform. Delmar said this many, many times, but I wanted to reiterate this. It is also a curatatory. And that means that we have this issue of having a need from your teaching and learning when you evaluate your materials. You inform your customization of your OER materials. You publish those out into our library, and then you adopt those. And then oftentimes you don't even need to originate. We want to increase the informing. So in other words, what we're really looking for at LibreTexts is not a bunch of people authoring everything brand new. That is not necessarily our goal. Our goal is that we're an active community that takes existing material and improves it and adapts it for their own material. Having a library of 1,000 Gen Chem textbooks that are all completely different is going to be unlikely anyway, because there's so much overlapping material. So the goal is really to help each other curate each other's work, build these communities that are working together. And that can only happen with enough sufficient amount of training and development in how our system works and how things can work together. So let's lower that learning curve while still maintaining this quality that we're expecting from LibreTexts. The office hours link is zoom.libretext.org for Stephen. And that, like I mentioned at the beginning of this talk, is where the Academy design really came from. This is not a new idea. This has been something that LibreTexts has been talking about for many years because we recognized this need, but we needed to get to the point where we had the sustainability in order to build that. And so if you haven't seen it yet, it launched on in January. There's an Academy button on our homepage, or you can go directly to libretext.org/academy or academy.libretext.org. Anything you put in there with that Academy will probably get you there. And there are a lot of things that we have been doing for free that now fall under the LibreTexts Academy umbrella, but I'm going to go through all of them in case you're not aware. I know a lot of people are fairly new to LibreTexts. We do have free monthly webinars every month. We have one, it's usually on the third Friday. Keep an eye out on your newsletter that you get every month. We do have LibreFest and Oktoberfest. LibreFest is low cost or free for LibreNet members. And Oktoberfest, I can't remember if there's a fee. It's very nominal. It's only a 1-day workshop where we basically cram everything from LibreFest into 1 day of kind of intensive learning experiences. So we kind of expose you to things, but we don't give any work time. We don't walk you through anything. We just let you know what are the things that are available and try to get you at least started enough. I like to think of Oktoberfest as in August, I started my class. By October, I realized I wanted to change things, and I need to think about how I might be changing those things next summer. So it's kind of a jump start to think about how you might change. And then next summer, attend LibreFest and actually get that work done. It can make this a lot more user-friendly. Other things that we do offer and have offered in the past, in-person and virtual workshops. We do have campuses who will pay for us to come out and do a whole work day at your campus with your faculty members that are interested, either in person or virtually. We have cohort trainings, which have launched in January. That can be a cohort of people at your institution or people that are just collaborating on one single project, or possibly a discipline-based cohort, meaning you're all going to be working on different types of chapters of a Gen Chem book, or maybe your own Gen Chem books. We also offer long-term mentoring programs. Those long-term mentoring programs could be individual or group, but that's where you get kind of like regular meetings with me or someone on my team to stop in, check about things, and get that kind of office hours type help devoted to you. And we do have those asynchronous training modules, which is called Academy Online, that you are experiencing. That's your LibreFest 2025 course. And some other things that are not necessarily off the shelf. If you wanted to work with me to build a professional development module for your campus, you want to help train people, you want to use some of our stuff and host it with us, make your own LibreFest 2025 type of a course, we can offer that. And then also we work with a lot of people for grant writing, dissemination of your grant project. So if you get an education grant from somebody, but you need to have an avenue for disseminating that, then we can partner with you to be the dissemination arm for that. And you can work with our team to see how that might work. And then we do have people who do end up hosting their small OER library from their campus with us. And all those dissemination collaborations exist under the Academy arm as well. So it kind of gives you all the different things that we're looking at. Again, from the LibreTexts Academy website. We do have those office hours. The link is there again. The one that's in the chat, officehours.libretext.org, that one will work, but also just zoom.libretext.org will work. They both go to the same place. One's just generic. One is more marketing. If you wanted to get some information about LibreFest, that's up there. We'll keep posting all of our LibreFest events there. And then that faculty resources thing in the upper right-hand corner has all of our services, including the one I wanted to highlight is that free monthly webinars, as long as links to the construction guide I've mentioned over and over again, and the Academy Online courses are also located there. Yes, I wanted to highlight again, that's where you can easily find that construction guide. For the monthly webinars, just to give you a hint of where things are at, we kind of use that construction guide as a framework for the things that we want to cover in our monthly webinars. These are what Jennifer coined the term, she didn't coin the original term, but she named them basics for beginners, because the thing we get a lot of feedback on is how do we get faculty to just start? Where is the starting point? So these are free. They're meant for people who have never heard of LibreTexts, and they're not for advanced users really. So these are the basics for beginners. Let's just get you up to speed, really, really minor things. So the first webinar was in January on what are the fundamentals? Literally, how do you register for an account and log in? How do you get instructor verification? How do you find things? What is there to find? What resources even exist? Then jumping down to the commons, that's the finding things. In February, the webinar was on Conductor and getting started. So that was kind of the session you saw this week on what is the Conductor for project management? How do you start a book? What does it mean to author? How do you think about that workflow of going to author? March was on remixing and basic editing. So you saw those talks this week. But those are more cursory 35-minute overviews and some basic questions. In April, we moved on to talking about the ADAPT homework system, just one session on that in very vague terms, more of a marketing spiel. So if you want to get someone to adopt it, that might be a good place to send them. And then May was on disseminating text, meaning ancillaries, as well as all the other things that might accompany a textbook. And then the June webinar was on success stories. So our 6th one was on success stories. We just had some people share their thoughts. The goal is that in July, which this is next Friday, so if you're excited about LibreTexts right now and you want to get other colleagues involved, our next webinar is next Friday, and it is the same as the January webinar, and we're going to go over those 6 again. So from July through December, it's going to be the same sequence. Getting started, then how to author, how to remix, how to use the adapt homework system, how do you use ancillaries, and then again, success stories in December. So our Christmas one will be on success stories, nice and light for the end of the year. So if you're interested in that, there's a QR code, or you can go to that free monthly webinars and check those out. It's a great way to get your colleagues to at least dip their toes in there to see what's different. The new, the non-free but paid opportunities, I wanted to talk a little bit more about those, and we're going to hear some success stories today from some colleagues. Those in-person or virtual workshops, those are all very cohort-based, it's not cohort, menu-based. So you guys can talk to me, reach out to me, think about what might work out. We have some campuses who have reached out to me to build 3-year programs of on-site mentoring and workshops throughout those years, cohort training, office hours. So if you have a chunk of money that you're supposed to be getting your textbook costs down on campus, you don't have to do that alone. We can help you, and just reach out to us to talk about what kind of thing can go into that. We do have the asynchronous training modules. That says in development because they were yesterday, and actually our shop just opened overnight. So you guys are the first people to see that. But the courses themselves are still under development. So you keep an eye out on the newsletters for when those are going to be getting a critical mass that you would want to take. And I mentioned the other ones as well. Those grant writing and hosting, those are ways that also can help keep LibreTexts sustainable by including us into your grants. For instance, if you know you're going to publish your work from your grant in an OER way, include us in that grant so that also supports the LibreTexts project moving forward and our sustainability as well. All right. These are all located on that same menu that you saw before. Under faculty resources, we have the Academy services. And I'm going to go through and take a look at those with you really briefly, but you can go there to find them out later. The page looks like this, LibreTexts Academy services. And then they have a bunch of different options, kind of like a menu of which things are free, how much they cost, what's the duration. And then all the buttons have a little submit inquiry. I will give you guys a heads up. If you're not sure what you're interested in, all of these submit inquiry things, go to the same Google form. So this goes to a form. And then when you click on it, you can actually select, I'm actually interested in office hours and individual mentoring plans, for instance. So you don't need to choose one of these things to go give us some feedback. Just click on any of them, and then you can kind of look at what they are. But this is where our price listing is and our description of them. I'm not going to go through and read about all of them because I kind of touched on them, but I do want to hit on the Academy Online one because that's the one that we've had the most requests for. You guys have access to the Basics for Beginners course, the free course, as well as the LibreFest 2025 course. There are a bunch of other courses that are in different states of being ready for users. And this is just a smattering of the ones that I'm currently working on, but you'll see ones like, there's 4 of them on advanced adapt skills. There's one on publishing a book 101. You guys have access to the LibreTexts Basics for Beginners, project management using the conductor. We do have one, in case you are curious, there's a LibreNet campus administrator training. That one's already live and going. So if you are a LibreNet administrator for your campus and you have not gotten access to that, then please do let me know. We had our first LibreNet roundtable where we launched that last month. We have one that's on licensing and attribution as well. So these sorts of things are all going to be available with subscriptions. We'll have one adapt-only subscription. Actually, I think it's on the next page. So our store is actually live right now. If you click that subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner of your LibreFest 2025, there is a subscribe button. This just launched today, so I would not recommend anyone purchasing anything right now. But I will definitely send out an email to everybody in this group in the conductor program when it is all ready and set to go. There will be two different tiers. One that is Academy courses just for Adapt, because there's a lot of users who just need help with building Adapt questions and things like that. There are a lot of complexities that go into Adapt, and then the overarching access to everything course as well. And there's 1 month and 6 month options and things like that. The two that I highlighted here are the ad hoc cohort training and the ongoing hosting and landing page. And I highlighted these not because I think they're awesome, they are, but because in chatting with you guys throughout the week, these are the two things that I've heard the most about. Ongoing hosting and landing page. If you have a project that you have already had some dissemination money for, and you just need a place to host this, that would be a place where you could reach out to us and pay us to do the harvesting in a really high quality way and give you a landing page for your project, and everybody's things can all go in one nice little area. So essentially it's expediting that harvesting process with interactive review and also giving you a collection on our library for your materials to live. And that's kind of depending on how big the project is, that's a ballpark figure there, but we do offer that service, and I'll show you an example of that in a minute. And then the other one is what I call the ad hoc cohort training. And you'll hear from two people who are our first ad hoc cohort members and during the success story today. This is if you're just interested in working on a book, but you don't have the capacity to work on the whole book and you would love to find someone else to work with on writing that book, then let us know. And if we can pair you up with someone else, then this would be a cohort that we put together, and then each member would pay that individual price. And then that they would work together on that 6-month guided help kind of training. As opposed to the cohort mentoring, this is up to 5 people, and that one is organized and designed by your institution and built that way. That one is much more, you find your own people and manage it, and then we just give you all the training materials that you'll need and all the support that you need. So the example of the dissemination project, the chemistry learning curriculum, laboratory curriculum project. This is, I'm going to go ahead and visit it within the Commons. And this one just launched. We're just working with them for the first time in the last week or two. Like I said, this is all brand new. Under collections, there is the chemistry laboratory curriculum and innovators. And they are each year for, I think it's a 4-year cohort grant. We are building their materials and posting them in the Commons for them. And actually last year, they didn't know how to do this. So we're taking them and harvesting them for them, putting them into this collection. And then I'm actually working with them in their in-person workshop that they got a grant through NSF to run at St. Mary's College of Maryland with Kelly Nealis and her team. And I will be training their faculty and student collaborators who are designing new inquiry-based labs for the chemistry curriculum. And I'm teaching them to write their materials in LibreTexts so that those grant dissemination guidelines go straight into LibreTexts without having another stop along the way, or wasting your guys' time building a random OER library for your grant. So that's an example of a hosting and dissemination project with a grant. We also have building communities is something that we're really working on this year, and Jennifer will mention a little bit later today. Those ad hoc cohort trainings, as well as our upcoming LibreTexts communities. We're going to we have a plan by the end of the year to build a forum for people to discuss the use of these books, to be able to discuss pedagogy around them, teaching practices, try to really make LibreTexts not a few chemists trying to show everybody how to do everything, but a community where people in all their own disciplines can talk to each other about how they're using LibreTexts and share their books and their insights as LibreTexts continues to grow at a very, very fast rate. There is a QR code there, and I'll send a link in the chat to a link where you can let us know if you want to be considered for these communities of practice or ad hoc cohort trainings. And you'd like to join a group. If a group exists, then you'll join our database, and then we'll be able to let you know. Let me see if I have that link. I should have had this link copied for you already. And I thought I did. I will throw that in the chat. Because many of you have asked for that throughout this week, is I would love to find people to work with on my project, or people to review my project, or people who might be interested in semester 2 and I'm working on semester 1 type material. So please do fill out that form. There's also a spot in there if you are interested in working with us on helping to build a video repository, as Delmar mentioned earlier this week, and some people said they would love to work with us on that. Feel free also to use the other option and let us know if you're wanting to collaborate with LibreTexts in some other way. If you'd love to lead workshops or anything like that, please do let us know. So with that kind of summarizes a lot of what we've been doing. I don't think I got close to using a full hour because I really wanted to give some time for people to ask some questions and follow up from this week, and also what resources are available to you in your specific circumstance.